See, I used to blame everything outside for my lack of progress until I found the problem was inside. For a big share of my life, I kept looking for the answers to do well outside, and I found out the answers were inside. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you become. You see, it's not what happens that determines the quality or the quantity of your life. It's not what happens. And the reason is because what happens to about everybody. The sun went down on all of us last night. A common event. And I found out the same things can happen to two different people, but one gets rich and the other stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do about it. That is an important phrase for your written and mental note. It's not what happens, it's what you do that makes the difference in how your life works out. What happens is about the same for everybody. It's what people do that makes the difference. Anything can happen, right? I've heard all of the stories. Hey, I've been one of the stories. We could all tell stories for days on end. Anything can happen. Have you heard of Murphy's Laws? Surely you have. Murph had these laws. One of the laws was, if anything can go wrong, it will. That's one of Murphy's laws. Anything can happen. I've fallen out of the sky so many times. Once to the tune of a couple of million. Devastating. Took me a while to get over that one. Now, it wasn't all that much, but it was all I had. That's much, right? When it's all you've got. If you've got 3 and 2 go and you've got 1 left, you aren't looking that bad, but when it all goes. I'm sure you've had that kind of experience. Of course, a long time ago, when you ran out of money and got to 0, you were all through. Heck, now you can whistle right on by 0, right? They will bury you these days. But those are happenings. Everyone's got the same happening. The big question is, what are you going to do about it? Someone says, yes, but you don't understand the disappointments I've had. Come on. Procrastination is particularly life-threatening because when we put something off, it doesn't seem at the moment to be all that important. At the end of the day, if you have let a few things slide, it doesn't seem like such a bad day. However, enough of those days piled up will make a disastrous year, and eventually, a disastrous life. Our inability to come to grips with a natural tendency to procrastinate will surely send us drifting in the wrong direction. Before you reach the final session of this program, you'll have left procrastination behind. If you're still troubled by it, you'll have discovered that it's simply too costly to put up with any longer. Besides, you'll be too excited about where you're going to postpone the activities taking you there. Self-imposed limitation number 2, blame. All of us have blamed others for our troubles from time to time. In fact, the tendency to blame someone or something goes back a long way. When there were only 2 people on earth, it wasn't long before they started blaming. The man said, "It was the woman. She got me into this." And the woman blamed the serpent. Blame seems to be one of those negative tendencies that just comes naturally. The ego striving to defend itself.
Because, lady, I'm is rich and there ain't nothing you can do about that. I don't know how successful you want me to be. They got this clock right here, so I'm gonna try to stay close to time. Of course, ain't nobody else did they time. Everybody else went long. But see, I'm a professional, so I looks down at the clock. But I'm gonna try to tell you something that's really important here. A lot of you are young in this room. I want to teach you something that I learned that changed my life also. Everything that changed my life came from God. I just got to keep talking to you like that, you understand? But I'm a real dude. I'm not a fake person. I am an imperfect soldier for Christ. That's what I am. Keyword, imperfect. Because I know I still do some things that ain't, you know what I'm saying? I smoke cigars, I gamble, I shoot dice, dice, craps, hustle. I still see women as... I don't do nothing about it. I just see you now. Now, 20 years ago, Lord Jesus. But I have learned even how to see beautiful women and be spiritual about it. Because, out in Hollywood now, and me too, this real. They taking careers out of it. So when I take pictures, I've been taking pictures all over the place in makeup. You see me taking pictures, you see all my fingers. Oh, I had a woman all up under me last night. Hand on my chest, you go ahead. I ain't got nothing for you, man. I don't mess with this. But I found how to be spiritual. So now this is how whenever I'm walking and I see a beautiful woman, I have found a way to get it out my chest, but stay spiritual. So when I walk by and I see her, I go, Jesus. Praise the Lord. Because my wife, man, is like the chick of my dreams, man. You know, I told you I've been married twice. I've been through it. When God gave me this chick right here, he saved my life, man. He saved my life. I tell dudes all the time, you could be a successful man without a woman, but you're never great.
So the master came back. So the story goes, 5 turned into 10, 2 turned it into 4. Brother 1 said, I kept what you gave me. I didn't put a spin on it. I didn't make it better. If God brings somebody in your life, make them better. If God gives you a talent, make it better. If God opens up a financial blessing, don't just hold it in your hand. Make it better. And so the master looked at him, he got mad. He said, you should have put my money to the exchange. You should have done something with what I gave you. You should have done something with every day. You should have done something with every opportunity. You should have done something with every day of your life. You should have done something. You should have stopped crying and complaining. You should have done something. I felt bad for Brother 1. I'm just that kind of person. I'm always for the underdog. Yeah, I could have been Judas's lawyer. And I said, Lord, this is not fair, because when you read the text carefully, you didn't tell Brother 5, Brother 2, or Brother 1 to increase. You never told them to increase. You gave them what you gave them and left. You did not command them to increase. So you're judging this brother kind of hard, Lord, because his brother had a hard life, Lord. He'd been through a lot of stuff. You never told him to increase. So no, this is not about commandment. It's about instant. Do you have the instinct to increase? And I thought, oh my God, you never commanded them to increase, but you expected them to increase. The kingdom of heaven will not command you to increase, but he expects you to increase. That's why he says stuff like, be fruitful and multiply. I expect you to take everything I gave you and give increase to what I've given you. And I said, wait a minute, wait. Let me try to figure this out. Let me try to figure it out. And I said, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. And then all of a sudden the Lord called 10 witnesses out. And he said, do you remember the 10 lepers? They came before Jesus and they said, oh, Jesus, have mercy on me. And Jesus says to the 10 lepers, go show yourself. Listen to this. This is a command. Go show yourself to the priest. And the Bible said that all 10 of them started moving toward the priest. But while they were headed to the priest, all of them looked down and they began to see that they were healed. Isn't it something that when you start walking in the word, you get healing in your life? You don't have to struggle, you don't have to labor, but the more you obey God, the more his healing power operates in your life. And as they were walking, they all began to experience the healing, but one of them turned around and went back to Jesus and said, Lord, I just came to say thank you. And Jesus looked at the one and said, where are the 9? And I said, Lord, you didn't tell them to come back. You told them to go show themselves to the priest. He said, yes, but I put an instinct down inside of you that when you get your blessing, I shouldn't have to tell you to praise me. I shouldn't have to tell you to trust me. You ought to have the instinct.
And I want to share this with you. One of the keys to becoming successful and living the life that you love rather than the life that you have been given. It's a major key that most people shy away from. And this is not for everybody. Some of y'all need to go and look at the old movies of Mike Tyson fights, or he and Roy Jones fighting like two uncles in the backyard. Gone someplace else. This is not for the faint at heart. People who have no goals and no dreams and okay with living a small life, don't get anything done with the same mindset, the same relationships, the same vision, no direction, no purpose. They're okay with that. This message is not for you. Don't waste your time. It might make you limp. It might take your appetite. This is for people who are hungry for greatness. I got a quote for you, and you got to be ready for it. I'm going to bring it to you because this is the place where we are. See, sometimes you can get in a situation, and because you've been doing it for so long, you go in automatic. I used to drive to work, and it was a long distance from my house, and sometimes when I got out of the car and started heading toward the door, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't remember how I got there because I went on automatic. My subconscious mind took over. I couldn't remember. I'd done it so much. We're in a dangerous place right now. We've been operating in a certain kind of way for so long. That's why people are resistant to change. So what are you talking about, me changing like this? This is a radical change. There's resistance to this. Why? We've never done anything like this before. No, but you could die. I don't care. No, I ain't doing it. Man in the hospital, and he was talking and touching things, and he had a lady in the same room, and she got up and was spraying some Lysol. He took the oxygen tent and beat her to death. That's not normal. There are people snapping. So I got a quote, and I want you to write this quote down, and then I want you to listen to me. And some period, I want you to listen to me with your eyes closed so that you can hear me in your heart, so that you're not distracted. The reason that most people are not achieving their goals, a variety of reasons. One, lack of courage. I want to circle back to that. And number two, weapons of mass distractions. Weapons of mass distractions. My son, John Leslie, boy, there are things you say out of the mouths of babes. He said for a long time, he was always saying, pay more attention to your destiny than to your distractions. That's why most people are not successful in the wealthiest country in the world. You know, 100 people, I talked about this yesterday, starting out at age 25, by the time they reach 65, 40 years later, one will be rich. 4 will be independently wealthy. 5 will still be working. And 54 will depend upon family and friends or some governmental agency to provide the bare necessities for them of food, shelter, and clothing. We're living in a time we've never seen. Widespread cowardice. And so guess what you have to do? Something I learned when I was a kid reading the Muhammad Speaks. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said something that resonated with me, that stuck with me at 10 years old. He said, do for self. This is what you have to do now. Do for self. You have to say to yourself, never, ever again will I allow myself to be in position to be cringing with fear, waiting for someone to sign a relief check of $600 measly that's gone before I get it. You got to resolve that. You've got to decide, no, this will never happen to me again. Yes, this thing called life, it's a fight. You got to resolve this. I want you to write this down, this quote that governs how I think and how I approach life and how I got to where I've gotten through and how I kick 4th stage cancer every day. Are you ready for it? I don't know if you're ready. Come on. You ready? I don't know. Write this down. Live like a warrior so you can die like a legend. Live like a warrior so you can die like a legend. Because people who are legends, they make their mark. They make an impact. They're willing to fight. We're living in a time unlike anything. I hope our children are not looking at leadership right now, unlike anything that we've ever seen.
Life is going to be Ron Howard happy days every day. It's not going to be that way. Matter of fact, it's probably going to be the opposite. You see, the enemy is going to throw everything he has in his toolbox at you. Now, he can't stop you himself, but his objective is to get you to stop you. This message is for the struggle, for all those going through trials and tribulations. People in this world are going to fool you, disappoint you, turn their back on you. The closest around you are going to give up on you. And when things hit the fan, everybody's going to run. You're going to look around and you're going to be all alone. I'm just keeping it real with you because somebody out there needs to hear what I'm saying. This ain't a motivational video. Man, this is life. This ain't no game to me, and I know what you're going through. And I'm going to speak life into you right now. Nothing, listen to me, nothing can stop you. God will never leave you nor forsake you, and that is all you need. There's a power inside of you that you can only discover when you are truly alone. Just as the waves on a beach shore come in and out, people will do the same. Relationships are like music, and you should never make music with anybody who doesn't understand, appreciate, and value your lyrics. Sometimes you just gotta let these people go. You gotta know your worth. Sometimes you just gotta let them people go. You gotta stop chasing people who don't appreciate you. Sometimes in this life, champion, you gotta remind the world just who you are. And you don't do this by telling them with your mouth. You tell them with your actions. You make your actions speak loud and proud to who you are. Don't let the world convince you that you're nobody. You're somebody who just don't know it yet. Do you hear what I'm saying, champion? I'm speaking to the champion in you. Rise, champion. The way of the warrior. Champion eyes. Get back up. My spirit cries. Fear dies. Choked out by the scream. The desire to climb. and live out my dream. Take it for the team. Discipline reigns. I wanted too bad to listen to the pain. I'm a winner. To God be the glory. Tragedy and setbacks, an inspirational story. Warriors like me, we were strategically designed for the struggle. Many before me gave up and quit. Acted all bad to the first time they got hit. But see, blood don't scare me. I fear not death. Whatever it takes, champion, to be the best of the best. I was made for war. I cry out to heaven, blessed and unstoppable, an immortal legend. Climb, I say, the unclimbable mountain. Kicking and punching, I just keep on pounding. I found it, that deep desire to win. I remember defeat and I say, never again. See, warriors like me, we were born and strategically designed for the struggle.
Balancing your personal life with your professional life is key to making your ambition work for you. Home life, work life, they must work together. Making sure that what you're going for in your career complements your home life. Making sure that what goes on at home complements your career. One won't work well if the other doesn't. Lady gets into work early in the morning, is the last one to leave every night. This keeps going on week after week, month after month. Doesn't seem like she gets that much more accomplished than everyone else. Matter of fact, it seems like she's using the office to escape from home. Something's wrong here. Better fix it. Chances are that whatever's bothering her at home is affecting her work anyway. A guy's always late for work. Always takes off during the middle of the day to go home. There always seems to be some sort of emergency to tend to at home. He takes long breaks, leaves early to go home. He's not getting his work done in record time. He's not getting anything done at all. Chances are he's using the emergencies at home as an excuse to stay away from the job. If something's wrong at work, fix it. If you can, or look for your solution elsewhere. If something's wrong at home, fix it. If what's going on at home is the result of neglect, admit it and fix it. Pay greater attention. If you need to go to counseling, go to counseling. Talk with your minister. Talk with a trusted friend. But remember that whatever the problem is at home, it probably didn't happen overnight. So make sure to give it some time in the healing. Be patient. Now there's a balance between work time and home time, professional time and personal time. They both have to be working well in order to maximize your ambition and maximize your potential. Problems at home affect work. Problems at work affect home. Even when things are going well in both areas, sometimes special circumstances call for the work time to take away from the home time. And if that's the case, make sure everybody at home knows when to expect the light at the end of the tunnel. And if that extra project is really taking away from the family, make sure your family knows that their time will be paid back with interest. Psychologists have found two major things that we as human beings get the most happiness and satisfaction from. Two things. Number one, our work, our contribution to society, our continued progress toward reaching our goals. Life responds to deserve, not need. Life was not designed to give us what we need. Life was designed to give us what we deserve. Once you understand that little life principle in your own self-interest, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. The ancient law does not go like this. If you need, you will reap. No, it doesn't work that way. A lot of people out there are hoping it works that way. But no, it doesn't. The ancient law goes like this: if you plant, you will reap. If you sow, you will reap. Somebody says, well, I really need to reap. Well, then you really need to plant in your own self-interest. Your own self-interest needs to be educated in how to plant, how to do it so everybody wins, because life doesn't respond to need. You can't go to the soil and say, I need a crop. The soil just smiles at you. And here's what the soil says: don't bring me your need, bring me some seed. Bring me some effort. Bring me some discipline. Bring me some interest. Bring me some service. Bring me these things, and I'll return to you multiplied by 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. You can't come with need. You've got to come with seed. You've got to come with willingness. You've got to come with skills. You've got to be willing to learn, willing to change, willing to grow, willing to put yourself out, willing to stand up to the bad weather, willing to pull out the weeds, willing to nurture. That's the only way you get a return. Once you understand these principles, self-interest now truly becomes an exciting challenge, making sure everybody wins. Now here's another one. If you want to find, you must search. And if you search, you will find. In order to find, you must search. You must go to the seminar. You must go to the library. You've got to go to the bookstore. You've got to go to the class. You've got to go searching. Why? If you search, you will find. You'll find ideas. You'll find inspiration. You'll find hope. You'll find contacts. But you've got to be out there, on the search, on the look. Life reserves its treasures for those who deserve it, not those who need it. Enlightened self-interest, giving so that you will receive, searching so that you will find, making sure that everybody wins all the way around. Enlightened self-interest needs to be educated. Enlightened self-interest says, I will learn that life is not just the passing of time. I will learn that life is the collection of experiences, ups and downs, highs and lows, laughter and tears. You must decide to act. You must have the discipline to act. Now here's what's important about discipline. One discipline affects another discipline. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive and say, this doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It all matters. Some things may matter more than others, but everything matters. If you'd rather sleep in than go for a walk around the neighborhood, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather spend your money instead of saving it, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather work late every night instead of going home and spending time with your family, pretty soon it will matter. It all matters. Every letdown affects the rest. If you won't walk around the block, you probably won't eat right. And you probably won't buy the books. And you probably won't attend the seminars. And you probably won't spend your money wisely. And after years of this, it all adds up. So the key to reversing this process is to start picking up the disciplines. It does matter. It all matters. Now, here's the positive side. Every new discipline affects the rest. Every new discipline makes a difference. That's why action is so important. The smallest action, the least action, the action that you won't think will matter. It all matters. Take it. Because when you start accomplishing and the value starts to return, you'll find inspiration to do the next one and the next one and the next one. If you start walking around the block, it'll inspire you to start eating right. You start eating right, it'll inspire you to get a book. You get a book and it'll inspire you to get a journal. You get a journal and it'll inspire you to develop some skills. Disciplines affect each other. Lack affects the rest of your life. The key is to diminish the lack. One of our greatest temptations is to just ease up a bit, to do just a little bit less than you're capable of, to take a little break. Somebody says, it'll just affect my sales. No, it'll affect your consciousness. It'll affect your philosophies. It'll affect your home life. It'll affect everything. No, you can't ease up a bit. That's what vacations are for. When you're at work, work. When you're on vacation, rest. Wherever you are, be there. If you think about vacation when you're at work, you'll surely think about work when you're on vacation. You'll just mess it all up. So be disciplined. Get involved. Do all that it takes to get the job done. Get your health back. Get your bank account where it's supposed to be. Get your family in order. Get disciplined, be disciplined every day. When you set up the disciplines that give your life structure, miracles can happen. Multiply. And I'm telling you, anybody who wants to make a drastic change in their income can do it. I was broke at age 25 and a millionaire at age 31. Everything around me was the same. I changed. I refined my philosophy. I read the books. I took the classes. Started looking at life a little differently. I'm telling you, it works.
There's no secret to success. There's a system to success. The system works if you work it. If you don't work it, it won't work. But it works if you work it. And that's one 4-letter word that most people don't like. They're not willing to work. I have a friend who invited me to her brother's house to help him to get off drugs, to introduce him to a drug program that can help him. And I said, these people can help you, but you've got to be willing to do the work. And after we finished, he asked us to leave. And I'll never forget what she said. As we were going down the steps, she said, Les, I do apologize for wasting your time, but I realized when my brother knew that it would require work for him to get off drugs, that most people won't participate in their own rescue. And there are people who will be presented with an opportunity, who know that they could be laid off at any moment, who know that there's no such thing as job security, who know that them keeping their job has nothing to do with how good they are. And yet and still, they'll go to work and have knots in their stomachs, hoping when they open up an email that they have not been told this is your last day. They'll go to work hoping there's not a security guard standing by their desk with a box and say, empty your things in here and take them to the front door and escort them to the parking lot. They go in there hoping it doesn't happen. Why? Because they don't want to do the work. It's an aversion to most people's spirit.
And I'm walking around in the jungle and I said, well, Lord, I can't fly like the eagle. I can't roar like the lion, and I can't throw my weight around like the elephant. What did you give man as his defense in the whole ecosystem of human, of life force? What did you give me? He said, I gave you a brain. That's why God didn't make chairs. He only brings it halfway. We are taught that God makes furniture. I want you to look around your life for trees, not tables. God's going to bring it within the reach of your mind, and your creativity is going to take it the rest of the way. Look at what all we were able to do. No other creature, no other species has sent satellites up into the air, created smartphones. Look at what we did with our head. Why are we not using our head?
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality, that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal, business is successful. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. Adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place.
Life tests the big dreamers, the passionate revolutionaries. It's almost like a weeding out process. Only the strong and the best get to live their heart song. You know what? If it was easy to get to world class and extraordinary, everyone would be doing it. Every dream starts off small, but you want to start and move it forward each and every day. And while everyone else laughs at you and criticizes you, pay no heed to them. Keep on moving your dream forward, because there is something magical about sticking to your dream longer than anyone around you thinks you have a right to stick to that dream. Do the interior work required to get to a level where the negative opinions and the chattering voices of the cynics do not knock you off your ambition. They do not knock you off your game. You have to be so strong in your own skin that when people dismiss your ideas, or they don't understand it, or they laugh at you, you simply keep on going.
The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your shit, molding and shaping your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you're gonna fly. Stop running around here trying to live up to the hype, homie. I'm just keeping it real, man.
If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing.
It's not what happens that determines your life future. It's what you do about what happens. All of us are in like a little sailboat. And it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of the sail.
If all you do is stay in little-minded, mud puddles of small thinking, you'll never grow any bigger. And some of you, it's time to get out of the mud puddle and get into a lake. And some of you need to get out of the lake and get into the ocean and let God release your potential.
See, here's what's amazing. At any point in your life, you can just decide to write a new script. You could decide to become a whole new character. See, the leading character in the story of your life is you. And guess what? You and God control the script. You can simply decide to be a new character. I'm strong now. I'm beautiful now. I'm handsome now. I'm bold now. I'm funny now. I'm smart now.
Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Now, sometimes there seems to be more opportunity than difficulty, and then sometimes there seems to be more difficulty than opportunity, but the mix isn't going to change.
This word is hard on the narrow road. Does not mean that it's impossible, but it strictly means that it is beset with difficulties. You will be pressed on that road. And in order for you to say yes to some things, you got to say no to a lot of other things.
After expansion comes recession. But after recession comes expansion. Not to think so, see, is naive. And once you've got just a little of this stuff settled, then you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what to anticipate, so you can be ready.
What you focus on, what you concentrate on, once your eyes are fixed on that, it begins to energize you and you begin to see the possibility of making it happen. What's your target? What's your goal? Whatever it is, focus. Trust me, the energy will come.
I don't have time to play petty games to try to convince you that I'm okay. Life is too short to try to have peace with people that don't want to have peace with you. Some of your relatives, you love them, but you have to love them from a distance. Don't frustrate yourself trying to make things happen that they don't want to happen.
In other words, there were behaviors and thoughts you've had in the past that were needed to produce the results you currently have. But you need to stop what's no longer needed. Maybe you're continuing a thought or a worry that at one time was needed, but no longer is. It could be something to protect yourself from fear, to protect yourself from harm, or to serve you in getting through a certain circumstance.
As you begin to look at yourself and look at where you want to go with your life, it's very important for you to ask yourself a question as you look at various areas of your life. Is what you are doing, is it giving you what you want? If it's not giving you what you want, it's going to take courage to decide to do something differently. It takes courage to enjoy yourself.
If you do one thing well, you can still dabble in other things as hobbies in your free time. But if you're trying too many things and not very successful in any of them, you won't enjoy yourself, you won't know any real accomplishment. It is this attitude that invariably brings success.
This life here, this is not me. This is not working for me. I want a way out. I want to do something else. This job, it's not me. Many people are staying where they are, even though the place where they are is not them. When there are major changes that you need to make in your life and you don't make them, after a while, you become blind to them.
There's a whole generation. Everybody wants purpose. Not very many people want process. I want to encourage you today. Every one of us, we are all just passing through. We are all just going through this life, this place called earth. I love my life. I'm grateful for life, but I understand this is temporary. I'm living for an eternal perspective. This life is temporary. I want to live my life on mission.
This is a key phrase now to use the rest of your life. You must learn to discipline your disappointment, because you didn't set up the setup, and that is not of your making. Now, if you made gross errors and you ran them off, see, that'd be different. Now, you're responsible for that. But if it's in the normal course of things, this is the way things are.
So you look at this thing called life, it's about transformation. It's about disruptions and about miracles, because you have miracle working power. Don't judge where your situation is right now, even if you don't have any evidence to the contrary. Judge not according to appearances.
See, that's why you have to have big dreams, because your dreams have to be bigger than all your fears and all your consequences. What makes people go back is you dream too small. See, your problem in life ain't if you aim too high and you miss it. Your problem in life is if you aim too low and you hit it. That's, you messed up now.
You've got to develop this might be the day attitude, all right? This might be the day. Well, why do you keep coming back? Why do you keep acting so strong? Well, because this might be the day. This might be the day I discover myself. This might be the day I get my breakthrough. This might be the day I fall in love, right? This might be the day. That's the kind of attitude you've got to have when it comes to looking at what it is that you want. This might be the day.
If you're not eating or mowing your lawn or thinking or working or living better today than you were a year ago, you've got yourself a little problem. Maybe you're hanging on when you should be letting go.
See, many things we don't do because of the fact we want people to like us. There's some necessary losses in life. When you decide acting in your best interest, you're going to lose some friends. Everybody's not going to approve of you. There's some people that won't like you. Who do you think you are? You're arrogant. What do you think you can do? You're selfish. Thanks, I got that.
Poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. The mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become.
If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter. This decision is yours and yours alone.
People want to know how to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination. They have some idea in their head, some kind of a vision of what they want to do, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start it, you know? They don't know where to start. And so they say, hey, where do I start? And when's the best time to start? And I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all.
So what kind of courage do you have? Is yours sort of floating between depending on the situation? Or do you know the difference between right and wrong for your life? And you've made up your mind. Our mind is the control tower of our life. All of our decisions are there. And the truth is, whatever we are today is the result of what we've been thinking about all those years. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you don't like what's going on around you, maybe you should ask yourself the question, what am I thinking about? What do I think about myself? What do I think about other people?